may be dead. Yet Sawyer?
That Heather chick and Leather Dick team up.
I'm a Sawyer.
Do you think, cuz?
Number 1.
Is Leatherface actually Heather's cousin? Or...
Welcome to Texas, motherfucker!
You're not even from Texas! He is! How does that make sense? Is he actually her uncle? And... is this unknowingly the sickest, most disturbing Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie to date? You just don't know it yet. Do your thing, cuz! One of the worst one-liners in horror history. Of course this has become a meme in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre space. But let me take this a step further for you and make it even worse. Because the things I'm about to explain are absolutely fucked. Let's just get into it. You're probably expecting me to point out that Heather is supposed to be 39 to 40 years old. A funny impossibility on its own. But I'm not. So save the studio interference and the script said the 90s takes for somebody else. I'm not interested. In this film's universe, none of that exists. What does interest me is what Mr. Farnsworth says.
The person in the basement is Jedediah Sawyer. He's your cousin.
And what Verna says in her letter as well.
There, you will discover a metal door. Behind it lives your cousin.
Every single person in this movie who could possibly know the answer says the same thing. The word cousin. That's the whole emotional foundation of this film. That's why she saves Leatherface in the end. That's why she stays to take care of him. It's that one line that got memed into oblivion. Rightfully so. But let me blow your mind. Leatherface is not her cousin. He's her uncle. And serious disclaimer here. This is about to get pretty vile and wicked. I don't really even want to do this segment. When Heather sits down at the police station and opens the state file and discovers the truth about what happened to the Sawyer family, we get a classified document shown on screen that shows every body retrieved from the infamous house when they burned it to the ground in 1973. Now, a very important thing to note about this film is that they have completely rewritten Drayton, the cook's character, completely. Even so much they erased the original character from the old scenes and added the new version. Here we see his description. Drayton Sawyer Sr., age 53, father to Loretta, Jeb, Duncan, Henry, and one more we never get to see named. I'm taking a wild stab and making an educated guess to say that these 3 men are the 3 listed as Drayton's children. But most importantly, father to Loretta and Jeb. Loretta is Heather's mother. Jeb is Leatherface, which means Loretta and Leatherface are brother and sister, which makes Drayton Sr. Heather's grandfather, and which makes Leatherface, say it again, her uncle. Another important thing to note is that Leatherface is no longer Bubba Sawyer, that the franchise established previously. In this new timeline, Bubba Sawyer was a 17-year-old kid, juvenile delinquent. His body was found in the backyard. So the cook is now Leatherface's father. Is it possible for him to be both? Yeah, absolutely. Here's how that works. The file says Drayton Sr. fathered both Loretta and Jeff. Same daddy, different mamas. That makes them half siblings. There's your uncle. But then look at line number 5. Clarissa is listed as mother to Drayton and Jeb, while Drayton Sr. is right there as Jeb's father. So the only way to make both of these true at the same time is if Drayton had a child with his own mother. Disgusting. So is Leatherface her cousin or her uncle? Turns out he can be both. Also note they misspelled Drayton as Drayton and Jed as Jeb. And in this family, that's no surprise. Because what I saw next made me despise this movie to the fullest. That's when I started actually reading this list, and boy, do I wish I hadn't. So buckle up. Here we go. Line 8. Allie Sawyer, female, age 32. Mother of Tub Sawyer, who was also blind. Now go up to line 7 to her son. Tub Sawyer, male, age 25. Son of Harry Sawyer, who was not on this list. Wait a minute. Hold up. Do that math with me. 32 minus 25 equals 7. That's 7 years old. 7 years old? Man, what the fuck? So you're telling me that old Harry here was doing some highly unnecessary extracurricular activities with a blind 7-year-old. Subtract 9 months of that for birth, that's 6 years old. Fuck this shit. I'm not gonna lie, I literally almost scrapped this video.
Hey, Harry, old buddy, old pal.
You should be on this list of dead bodies recovered. But unfortunately, it gets even worse. This wasn't a one-time thing. Go back to line 5. Clarissa Sawyer, female, age 60, mother to Drayton, Jeb, and Carrie. So she's Drayton's mother. If we go back to line 1, Drayton Sr. is 53 years old. And if we do the math again, 7 years old. Again, that's twice. So it seems if you're a female in the Sawyer family, once you turn 6 years old, you become eligible to have your life ruined. I'm ending this here. I don't want to talk about this. I can understand having shock value in a movie, and maybe I would overlook this as a possible typo, but when they give you a close-up for you to view, and it happens twice, nah. I mean, seriously, who wrote this incest PEDO bullshit? Who wrote Texas Chains... Damn it! 3D. Adam Marcus, huh? And they tried to paint the Sawyers and the family as sympathetic and victims in this movie. So sincerely, go fuck yourself.
What was that?
I think we hit something.
Number 4.
The Trey Songz paradox. Let's talk about that. There's a scene in this movie during the party where Ryan's shooting pool and a Trey Songz track is playing in the background. And Ryan is played by Trey Songz. This type of thing always interests me because this creates a doppelganger paradox in this universe. Because now this movie has 2 different Trey Songz in it. Now this isn't the same thing as Gunnar Hansen and Marilyn Burns coming back for cameos. It's a different situation with them. Because Gunnar Hansen doesn't exist inside this movie's universe. Boss Sawyer does. Marilyn Burns doesn't exist. Werner Carson does. Ryan's world has Trey Songz in it. The music exists. Trey Songz, the artist, exists. This film brought the real world inside its own story, creating a fundamental character and universal paradox. Now, if you watch this channel for a while, you know this isn't the first time I cover stuff like this. Like in Halloween H2O, when they play Scream 2 on the TV. The issue is, if Michael was standing in that room, he would be watching a movie containing fictional movies about himself. And vice versa with Scream. Anyway, there's plenty more examples I've done in the past. But that's getting off topic. I just think it's cool to think about this stuff in universe only. Because they're breaking the logic of their own fourth wall. Not our fourth wall, the movie universe's fourth wall.
Arby's, we have the meats.
What happened to Leatherface's sister, Carrie? Back to that state police file. I could go on about this for an hour or even make this a separate video. But this is the last name I'll mention because Carrie is the only one unaccounted for. Line 5, Clarissa Sawyer, female, age 60. Mother to Drayton, Jeb, and Carrie. Carrie, that's Leatherface's sister. And that's the only time this movie ever says she exists. So if you go down the list of bodies pulled from the house, she's not there. Drayton Sr., Loretta, Drayton Jr., Bubba, Clarissa, Tubbs, Allie, and then a Jane Doe and 2 John Does. But no Carrie. And Carrie couldn't have been the Jane Doe because we know exactly who these 3 are. This film picks up minutes after the 1974 film, so these 3 unidentified bodies have to be Pam, Kirk, and Jerry. 2 males, 1 female. 1 Jane Doe, 2 John Does. That math does itself. Those aren't Mystery Sawyers, they're Sally's friends. And when Heather goes to that gravesite, we can read all the tombstone names. Annabelle, August, Hazel, Drayton, Loretta, Verna, Eli, Aldo. This baby grave, which I'm assuming is Drayton Jr., Calhoun, Malcolm, Elpha, Daisy, Benjamin, Percy. And this grave that holds 3 sons, Orson, Otto, and Dashell. And still, Carrie is nowhere to be found. So the state didn't pull her out. Verna or the town didn't bury her. No plot, no marker, no nothing. She just vanished. She would have been grown by 1973. Probably a little bit younger than Jed, but an adult. So she ain't some kid that got scooped up and renamed like Heather. My theory is she wasn't in a house fire because she was long gone, just like Verna. She married up and took up the Carson name. That's the playbook. You don't outrun the Sawyer name and Newt. You marry out of it. Ain't nobody looking for a Carson. A prime example of this is the Mary being bloodthirsty to kill every last Sawyer.
I want to see the Sawyer girl. She's a victim, Bert. She hasn't done anything. She's free, the nation!
But ignored Verna because she was a Carson. So if Carrie did the same thing, she was somewhere else that night with her Romeo. She had survived and left that life behind and started a family of her own. still continuing the Sawyer bloodline in a way. So what do you think? Is Heather really the last Sawyer, or just the last Sawyer that anybody ever cared to look for? Because once again, Carrie Sawyer, Leatherface's sister, is the only Sawyer not accounted for. Number 6. Rapid fire round. It's a good thing you have x-ray vision and you can see behind that barn door and nearly missing your boyfriend who just slung some sausage to your best friend. R.I.P. the OG. Texas license plate. Louisiana registration.
You got your eagle?
You know what extended clip?
Somebody don't know guns. Can anybody in the comments tell me what was wrong with that sentence? Did you ever notice that Verna has Sally's shirt? There's 3 different Leatherfaces in this movie. Leatherface versus Jigsaw.
Number 7.
Did Heather set up her own adoptive parents? And
Because I got high. Because I got high. Because I got
Number 8.
will Heather and Leather finish off the remaining people in the photos? Short one here, but that post-credit scene. Gavin and Arlene roll up to the mansion looking to get their hands on the estate, and Jed answers the door greeting them with the old trusty chainsaw. But I don't think that's an accident. I think Heather set them up. Here's why. If we look at where her headspace is at the end of the movie, she's fucking lost it.
I thought you were pretty cute. I'm a Sawyer.
She's a Sawyer now. Just disregard this man you've never met in your life. Just killed your boyfriend and other friends, and attempted to take your life multiple times. Granted, your friend and boyfriend was pieces of shit, sleeping around behind your back anyway, despite spending this entire night trying to kill her. She's a very forgiving person. Anyway, I think the moment she sat down with that file and went through the crime scene photos of the night her whole family got wiped out, and her adoptive parents were standing right there in it, she made her mind up that she was going to avenge her real mother, who she never met, who was also part of a cannibalistic and murderous family. Still somehow thinks that the Sawyers are the good guys. So put it together. She knows what they did. She's embraced the bloodline, an inheritance, she's got a mansion, and a man in the house who solves all of her problems with a chainsaw. What more can you ask for? Oh yeah, she set them up. She made sure the job was finished. Even Leatherface had a vendetta against the mayor, the cops, and even kept tabs on them as we see in the film. I think given the chance, based on the setup Heather just did, there's a lot more people in that photo to take care of. Her situation isn't much different. She just marked 2 more names off the list. The question is Leatherface going to do the same?
Who needs a knife? I'm already under your skin.
How does Hooper cover any of this up? And
Number 10.
let me tell you how this would tie into the most butchered timeline to date. It's all fucked. Let me explain. Let's finish this thing off with the ending. Sheriff Hooper's last move in this movie is to look at Heather and Leatherface and tell them to clean up the mess.
Clean this shit up.
Then they walk away into the sunset and live happily ever after. Like the good guys won, when the Sawyers were not the good guys. Anyway, now let's count how many Hooper actually has to bury. Daryl, Kenny, Ryan, Nikki. A wrecked van, a mansion that looks like a slaughterhouse. Ollie dead in the slaughterhouse. Now that's the easy part. A couple of out-of-towners that nobody in Nuke gives a damn about. No one's gonna miss them. But then it gets stupid. There are some things that Hooper is not going to recover from. Let's start with the officer. Officer Marvin got butchered on a live call. This man live streamed his death in real time. There's a record of that. The police, the phone carrier, what have you. And on that same feed, you can see Marvin shoot Nikki. So the one piece of evidence that clears Leatherface for a body is that same exact piece of evidence that's gonna hang the police department. And then there's the big one. Mayor Burt, the elected mayor of the town, ran through a meat grinder. Now there ain't much to bury with him. He gone. There is no version of small town Texas where the mayor disappears and the state doesn't come running. Rangers, media, an actual investigation by people who do not answer to Hooper. And to add to that ammunition there is the mayor's son, Deputy Carl. He is the one who ran every dirty errand in this movie for his daddy. Grabbing Heather, unlawfully, hauling her out to that slaughterhouse, all of it. Not to mention he really should have did a pat down on Heather. I don't know why he didn't. Accessory to a premeditated attempted murder there. I hope his dash cam was off and Carl's still breathing when the movie ends. So explain that to me. Hooper is covering up the murder of a mayor in front of the mayor's son, who's also a cop. There's 3 ways that this goes. Carl keeps his mouth shut, which that's his father and that grinder who got the Michael Myers treatment. Or Carl talks, and this whole thing unravels inside a week. Hooper handles it. And if it's door number 3, then this movie's happy ending includes a sheriff quietly making a deputy disappear. He's the headache of Hooper in all of this. And I guess someone would just make the cop car at the Carson place disappear as well. Maybe it will all be pinned on the mayor, who knows. Plus, there were hundreds of people at the carnival who saw Leatherface in action trying to legit kill Heather with a chainsaw, which Carl brought in as evidence with real blood on it. Even though Carl doesn't know how to properly fill out an evidence tag. Hey Carl, what's today's date? 9:45 p.m. What? Hey Carl, what time is it? September 21st. Huh, you know how it is. But you know what, maybe I'm giving this police department too much credit. Because let's go back and look at the track record. Because they have messed up every single detail. Big, minute, from A to Z. They have butchered this timeline. Let's break it down. Here's the timeline of the original film. August 18th, 1973 is day 1. That's the van, that's the hitchhiker, that's the house, that's the dinner. You know the story. August 19th is when Sally gets picked up on that road at sunrise. That's when the cops finally get involved. That's the day this town rides out to the Sawyer place and burns it down at about noon. And that famous photo of the mob standing in the rubble was taken late that night. Now let's go over the confidential police reports. The police report is dated August 18th. Impossible. On August 18th, nobody in law enforcement knew a single thing happened. Sally hadn't been found yet. There was no report to file. Whoever wrote that thing dated it a full day before the file even existed. And the newspaper printed is dated August 19th. Also impossible. The photo's taken that night. So you're telling me a small town paper got the story, wrote it, laid it out, printed it, and put it on the street the same night that it happened. Lay out the cocaína! Papers don't drop at 10 o'clock at night for a day that's already over. That's an August 20th paper at minimum. Now it's entirely possible that this new 3D timeline shifts the entire timeline one day earlier. Fine, except this movie is a direct sequel to the 1974 film. It literally opens with the footage. You cannot use the original film as your foundation and then move the original film dates. Pick one. So here's what we're actually looking at. This department's very first document on the biggest mass killing in county history is dated wrong. The newspaper's dated wrong. The body list has a family tree that eats itself apart. 2 mothers that gave birth at 7 years old. Leatherface isn't even listed on the deceased body count, and yet they're surprised that he's alive.
I think it may be Ted. No way. We burned that place to the ground. You're telling me he's been holed up all these years and now he's running around on the loose?
A 6'5" man wearing a skin mask came out of Verna Carson's house and wielding that.
How dumb are these motherfuckers? So what do you think? Does Carl keep his mouth shut? And what does that police report even say? And how does a police department run for 40 years on paperwork that was wrong from day one? Phew, mind blown. But that's gonna wrap this video up, guys. Thank you so much for taking part of your day to kick with me. You know I appreciate it. I'll see you next week with Leatherface 2017.